whether it's trash or whether it's an amazing novel, I will read it. End of story. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jen, and this is the Library of Jen. So this is my first video, so I was going to start out by doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I think it's a great way to start a channel, especially if I don't have any other content up there yet. It's a great way for you guys to kind of get an idea of what I'm looking to do for this channel, also what kind of books I'm into, things like that. So I'm really excited to give this a try. I've got all 10 questions in front of me, so let's jump in and give it a try. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? And the answer to that is pretty simple. I'm obsessed with books in all forms, all shapes. I love to talk about books. I love to read books. So I think for me, I really wanted to start this channel because it's a great way for me to express my opinions and talk about how I feel about books to other people and with other people who are also interested in the same kinds of things. So it's a great way to branch out to a group of people that would not maybe see in my real life and then have the chance to kind of interact with them, which is really cool. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? I don't necessarily know if my channel itself is going to be unique. There seems to be, from my research into BookTube and my experience with it, a kind of template that people use. You know, you do unhauls, hauls, TBRs, wrap-ups, things like that. As far as other original, unique content, I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with that yet. That's something that I'm hoping to grow with and learn as I go, and kind of come up with an idea. So for now, it's going to kind of be pretty straightforward with some of just the normal stuff. In general, I think one unique that I myself as a reader bring to you, BookTube, is I read across all genres. In general, I tend to read more towards fantasy, but I will read anything you put in front of me. And I know that a lot of times, at least what I've seen with a lot of the booktubers, is they tend to have a particular genre that they specialize in and that they really focus on, which is great. Everybody has something that they like. But I think for myself, a unique thing is that I really do read everything, so I can talk about a variety of different things, and you'll see more variety as well. So the third question, okay. What are you most excited about for this new channel? For me, I'm really excited to meet this community, not just as a viewer and as someone taking in the content, but also as a creator now. This is a new concept for me in general. I've never done this kind of thing, creating videos, being a creator in any sort. I barely even post on my personal social media, so in general this is something new, and I think that's part of the reason why I was so drawn to it, because it's a topic that I love so much, but it's such a cool new concept for me, and I kind of want to take that challenge and challenge myself of giving something new a try. So I'm really excited to integrate myself into the community, to communicate with community, be a part of it. I'm really excited to kind of see myself grow from, these initial points into the kind of channel that, I hope that I could have. So it'd be really fun to see myself grow as well, and also my reading list to grow. The more I interact with people and the other booktubers, to have that opportunity to kind of expand my reading and learn about some new books that maybe I don't necessarily know about, things like that. So it'd be really cool to see that as well. Question number 4, why do you love reading? Reading is such an immersive thing. These writers and these authors have come up with these worlds and these characters that they've poured their heart and soul into, and they've put it on paper, and they've allowed someone to publish it for us to enjoy. And I think it's just so wonderful to see and experience all of those things that they've put onto paper. I really enjoy, that's one of the things I like about fantasy, is the world building, all these creative things that they've come up with, magic systems and these different worlds and planets and things like that. It's just so interesting to be immersed into that. And even on a contemporary side, when you're talking about, a contemporary romance, sometimes you've never even heard of the jobs that some of these characters have. So to learn about all these new things and experience all these new things that you would never have heard about or learned about in your real life, and all from the comfort of your couch, it's such a cool experience. And I find as well that books have a way of bringing people together. I can read a book and I can meet a stranger on the subway who's also reading the same book, and an instant friendship is connected because you have a conversation about it. It really brings people together, and I think it's such an interesting and cool way to do that. And I'm really happy that I've had so much of that experience in my life, and I can't wait to share it with other people. And it's really one of the reasons why I just love to read as much as I do. So question number 5. What books or series got you into reading? So I have been a reader for as long as I can remember, and I can't really pinpoint one particular series or books that got me into reading itself, but I can say that when I was younger and I first started reading, I didn't quite understand, I guess is the best way to put it. I read books, they were in front of me, I read them, I ingested them. I didn't always comprehend the stories and the things that authors want you to experience in their books. Growing up, I did not read popular series like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, all those kinds of things. I didn't really read until I was an older adult, so it's not something that I can really point to. But I will say in probably the 8th grade or so, around the time that Twilight came out, one of my friends convinced me to read it, and I think that was a turning point in my reading for me. That was really a point where it wasn't just about whizzing through the book, getting beginning to end. It was about actually emotionally investing in the characters and the storylines. And that, I think, really changed how I began to read books. So I do kind of credit Twilight itself in that series with really getting me into reading, because it really showed me a different way to read, and I really enjoyed that as well. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So booktube in general for myself is new. I've only kind of discovered it within the last year or so, maybe 2. So I haven't had a chance to explore as much of the community as I would like to. And I'm still doing it all the time. I'm finding a whole bunch of new people that I'm interested in, and it's such a great thing to do. But I think for me, my number one pressing question would probably have to be, how do you become inspired for new content, especially the creative content, things that outside the normal? I've seen a lot of different things, and everybody has kind of their special thing that they like to do. So I'm really interested to hear how people find that inspiration and come up with those ideas to do that creative content. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So for me personally, because this is a new concept, I think one of the biggest things for me is going to be consistency. I am a student, I work full-time, so for me, finding the time to create the content and edit my videos and all that kinds of stuff, especially now when it's new to me and I don't really know what I'm doing, so having to not only do the task but learn the task, that's going to be something that's a big challenge that I have to overcome. And on top of that, also finding the time to read the books that I want to talk about in that time frame. So I think for me, it's definitely going to be a consistency thing. I would like to get on a consistent schedule of posting, however that may be once a week, whatever. So I think it's just for me finding that sweet spot for myself and balance amongst everything in my personal life, as well as, this new channel that I'm adding to my life. Number 8. When did you start reading? As I said before, I've been a reader for as long as I can remember. I still remember in 1st or 2nd grade the times in school where we would go to the school library. In my elementary school, our teacher, or our librarian, had this little mouse named Pinky. It was a gray mouse with some pink ears, and Pinky was your reading buddy, and Pinky was always my reading buddy. He would always sit with me wherever I was, and whatever book I had in my hand, and I was always looking for something new to read. So I've always been a reader. My mom used to joke around that she would stop buying me books because my reading habit was becoming expensive. She never really understood why I was so into reading until I had her read Twilight. Then she understood. So I think for me, I've always just been into it. But like I said, when I started to read Twilight, when I was about the 8th grade or so, I really changed how I was reading, and that really changed my opinions of it. It wasn't just me reading a book beginning to end. It was me getting immersed in the story and feeling for the characters, having a crush on a character, having an emotional connection. So that's something that really started when I was more in like the 8th grade, started to go into high school. Number 9. Where do you read? I read everywhere, literally everywhere. If I can be reading, I will be reading. When I'm working, I listen to audiobooks. Sometimes I listen to podcasts and things like that too, but I mainly listen to audiobooks while I work. I like to physically read books. I much rather prefer that. So my favorite places to read are probably in bed or on the couch because they're the most comfy. You can curl up with a pillow and a blanket. I read in the car if I'm not the driver. Even if I'm the driver, I listen to audiobooks. If I can, take my tablet somewhere with me, I always have an ebook on my tablet or my phone, something like that. So I will read anywhere that I can. Number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? So as I said before, I will read anything. If you suggest it, if you put it in front of me, I will read it. The only exception that might be nonfiction. It takes me a while to convince myself that I really want to be interested in nonfiction, and that's mainly because reading for me is about getting lost, and nonfiction is about learning. And so I will read nonfiction. In June, I read 2 nonfiction books actually, which is way more than I normally read in a month. So I'm starting to branch out and do more of that. But for me, it's definitely about getting lost in the world. So if it's a good story, if it's well written, if it's just compelling and it draws you in, I'll read it. My favorite genre in general, though, is fantasy. Some of my favorite authors would have to be Brandon Sanderson. On the young adult side, Sarah J. Maas, Sarah B. Larson, all those guys. They're my favorite authors, and those are the books that I go back to time and time again. But I will read literally anything you put in front of me. It doesn't matter. I will read it. Whether it's trash or whether it's an amazing novel, I will read it. End of story. So that wraps up all of the questions. So I am really excited to go on this journey, and I'm excited that you guys are going to go along with me. So I'm really glad that you took the time to watch this video. I thank you so much. And I'm going to end it by telling you what I am currently reading, which is Beautiful Player by Christina Lauren. I'm not that far into it. I kind of just started. I have read the first 2 books and then the first 2 novellas in this series. I think it's 5 books and 4 or 5 novellas, something like that. It's a trashy romance novel, and that's fine. I'm totally here for it. I needed something light to read. Work's been pretty stressful, so it's kind of nice to read. This one's kind of thick, though, which is really surprising, but, I'll take my time and I'll get through it. So that's what I'm currently reading, and I look forward to making more videos and talking to you next time. Bye!